Hi, everybody. So, today we are going to start a new lesson in our writing and rhetoric. So, we're going to start lesson 6, which is called the main character, the protagonist. So, find your lesson 6 papers. It should be stapled together, one of the packet that came home. Was it last week, 2 weeks ago? How long that has been? Anyway, and I want you to follow along with me. I'm going to read the introduction with you together. We're going to do that together. And then I'm going to have you read the story of the Brahmin, the tiger, and the jackal. I'm going to have you read that to your parents. Read that out loud to your parents. That'll be a fun one to read together. And then I'm going to have you do an outline. In the last lesson, we practiced outlines, and I'm going to have you do an outline of that. And then we're going to skip a whole bunch of pages, and then we're going to do the last part of the lesson. Okay, so we're not doing the whole lesson. So just two major parts out of the lesson. All right, so let's go through. I'm on page 70, okay? So let's go through and talk about the protagonist and learn what that is. This is one of the new concepts that you need to have for next year. Once you've written the beginning of your story, you have set sail. You are now on your voyage towards a magnificent ending. If the beginning of the story is all about grabbing the reader's attention, what is the middle of the story all about? Well, of course, you want to hold on to the reader's attention once you've grabbed it. For this, interesting characters and conflict, which you'll learn about in the next lesson, are essential. Story writers must create characters that readers care about. Readers should especially care about the main character, who is often the hero of the story. Another word for main character is protagonist. A protagonist was the lead actor in a Greek drama, and we continue to use that term today to indicate the main character of a story. Think of the main character or protagonist as a good friend. If your friend was in danger, you would never hang up the phone on him, would you? If your friend was celebrating a birthday, you would never turn out the lights and go home. By the same token, your readers will not drop your story if they like your main character. What are some things that make a main character likable? Think about the things that make people likable to you. Do you have a favorite aunt or uncle? Do you have a favorite teacher or classmate? You probably like the special way that person smiles, talks, and laughs. You like the way that person gives you hugs or shakes your hand. You like that person's sense of adventure, or you trust the person's truthfulness. Or you may like that person because she's a bit strange, but strange in a nice way. One of the storybook characters I love best is Anne Shirley from Anne of Green Gables. Some of you may have read that. She's definitely strange in a nice way. Her imagination is always flying away with her, and her tongue flies along with it. Here is Anne making an apology to a neighbor lady after screaming at her. Oh, I love this part. Oh, Mrs. Lynde, I am so extremely sorry, she said with a quiver in her voice. I could never express all my sorrow. No, not if I used up a whole dictionary. You must just imagine it. I behaved terribly to you, and I've disgraced the dear friends, Matthew and Marilla, who have let me stay at Green Gables, although I'm not a boy. I'm a dreadfully wicked and ungrateful girl, and I deserve to be punished and cast out by respectable people forever. It was very wicked of me to fly into a temper because you told me the truth. It was the truth. Every word you said was true. My hair is red, and I'm freckled and skinny and ugly. What I said to you was true, too, but I shouldn't have said it. Oh, Mrs. Lynde, please, please forgive me. If you refuse, it will be a lifelong sorrow on a poor little orphan girl. Would you, even if she had a dreadful temper? Oh, I am sure you wouldn't. Please say you forgive me, Mrs. Lynde. If you've ever seen the movie Anne of Green Gables, the actress that plays the part of Anne Shirley does this scene wonderfully. You might say that Anne is a drama queen. She had a way of adding comedy and tragedy into everything she says. Most characters like all people, have something quirky or unusual about them. These character traits establish that the character is one of a kind and memorable to the reader. A trait is any feature that makes a person unique. Height, weight, hair, eye color, personality. It can be anything from a bad habit like biting fingernails or playing with gum to a physical trait like thick glasses or a peg leg to a manner of speaking. Shiver me timbers. Another well-known book, Winnie the Pooh, is full of characters that have interesting traits. Winnie the Pooh describes himself as a bear of very little brain. And we see that this is true when he risks his neck to steal honey from a bee's nest high in a tree. In fact, honey is the most prominent thought in Pooh's little brain. Even so, Pooh is a lovable character because he is kind and helpful to his friends. His manner of speaking is also quirky, for he's always saying, "Oh, bother," and making up little ditties like rum tum tiddle yum dum. Let's take a look at another character, and this one's found in a tale from India. While you read, ask yourself what makes the Brahmin an interesting protagonist, and what are his character traits? So now I want you to read this story on pages 73 all the way to 77 aloud with your parents, and you can discuss what is it that makes the protagonist interesting? What are his character traits that make him so interesting? And then I want you to outline the story. Now, some of you mistakenly wrote summaries for the last chapter when we're working on outlines. I want an outline. So this means using Roman numeral 1 for the first main event, and then A, B, C for minor sub-events that go in that. So every one of your major events should have at least an A and B to go with it. And some of those A's and B's can have 1, 2s, and 3s in them. There's a lot in this story. So I want, and every point that you should make should be a complete sentence as well. All right. So outline the story. I'm going to be a little bit stricter on grading this, which means if I don't have an outline, period, you're going to get a really bad grade. Okay. Right, there's the book has an example, and they came up with 6 major events in this story. 6 things, so they go all the way to Roman numeral 6. You may not have that many, and that's fine, but you probably should have at least 4 main events, and each one of those should have at least an A and B. Some of them are going to have an A, B, and C, and some of those A's, B's, and C's might have a 1 or 2 with them. Okay, so you can put a lot of detail into this. Outlining is a difficult skill, but it's part of being able to comprehend the story. So give me my outline. Use your Roman numerals, your A's and B's, and your 1, 2s, and 3s, and also in complete sentences. Okay? All right, have fun with the story.